Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka 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 podcast.
Baka!
Baka.
It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Baka Baka Baka. This is one of our infamous minisodes where we're not talking about an anime that we just watched for the past 2 weeks. We're talking about random conversations that we thought of way too last minute with lack of preparation. That's probably mostly on me, though. Hello, everyone. Glad you could join us tonight. We are talking about horror animes and getting into all that. That's picked by one of my co-hosts, who I'm about to introduce right now. My name is Troy. And first up, we have the young to my Frankenstein.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going great. Going great. More games. That's about it.
Nothing wrong with that. No judgment here at Baka Baka Baka. We appreciate all lifestyles.
I have so many other projects I want to do, but I keep hurting myself, so I'm just going to stick with
don't
electronics.
Flash the gross thumb. Don't do that.
It's Band-Aided. It's all good, man.
Oh, no.
You should have seen it before the Band-Aid, though. It was like blood everywhere.
For everyone on, see, now you ruined the audio podcast, too.
No, come on. It's a horror episode, right? It's a horror episode.
I guess that's true. That was Jeremy. We also have the Dracula to my dead and loving it, Jason.
You lost me on the reference.
Leslie Nielsen playing Dracula? No?
Oh, God. That must have been awesome.
It was not. Okay. How you doing, Jason?
I'm actually kind of happy this week because you mentioning Leslie Nielsen is aging you tremendously, and I love it.
He is a classic, and he should be known by all generations. The man is a national treasure.
No. That's Nicolas Cage. He was in that movie.
Okay. There you go.
National Treasure 2? No, that was also Nicolas Cage.
Oh. Too bad he wasn't in the Da Vinci Code.
Look, Leslie Nielsen worked with O.J. Simpson and survived. There you go.
Well, there's that. And how are you?
I'm good. Not been up to much since our last episode, really. Just relaxing.
I prefer the word chillaxing.
That's true. Netflix and chillaxing by myself.
You're never by yourself.
I'm not going to stay with my kids, man. It's awful.
Yeah, you can't say I'm Netflix and chill with my kids. That's just inappropriate.
Okay, we're talking about horror anime. We're getting into the Ooky Spookies. Should we have saved this episode for October? Probably. We just don't roll like that. We fire from the hip.
That's right.
Just like last week's minisode.
Deep breath. Jeremy, what do you think about horror anime?
I think it's so diverse and interesting. That's kind of why I wanted to talk about it, is because what would you personally categorize as a horror anime? Like, I have Gantz, Zerum, the animation, a lot of vampire animes, but they're not necessarily completely horror. So I don't know. I'm not 100% clear on what constitutes a horror anime.
Okay. Well, that's definitely a topic we're going to be touching on. Jason, what are your overall thoughts on horror animes?
I really enjoy that aspect of not only anime, but film as well. And it has to be done right, because obviously the cliches are numerous and they're out there and everything. So when an original story comes by, and I think that's one of the reasons I really appreciate Japanese horror. The Americanized versions of like The Ring or there was another one, like Grudge. They were okay, but the Japanese ones are amazing. Like that psychological horror and just not the in-your-face cheap jump scares. And I think that's what makes anime a really good vessel for that type of horror, because there's, like you've said many times, there's a lot of things anime can do that you cannot do in live action, and make it believable and make it scary. And one of the ones that I always run back to for that kind of in your throat, like deep, scare is another, because not only is it not well explained, which is great for that kind of horror, but it's definitely, you don't know when it's coming next.
I know you guys are both like Five Nights at Freddy's fans. Now, would you classify that as a sort of kind of horror because it presents this atmosphere that can psychologically make you unsettled and scared?
Horror games are... Five Nights at Freddy's is its own genre, in my opinion, because there's two sides to Five Nights. There's the game, which is, I guess you can classify it as horror game, but it's if you fail said mechanic, you get a jump scare. And that's not really engaging for me. I know there's lots of people that really like that kind of mechanic. It's the story. And the story is so well done and shrouded in mystery, and it's given to you in tiny pieces of information in unconnected ways that makes the murder mystery about it very intriguing. Or at least that's how I see it. I don't know about you, Troy.
I think one thing that Japan does really well, and something that's what makes their anime so good, is their creativity, their imaginations. And so I think when it comes to horror, they have locked the field down on creating things that are just creepy and that are unsettling to see. And that is my favorite type of horror. And as a matter of fact, I'm not a big fan of American horror. I do get scared by it, but I enjoy anime horror because the creepiness factor doesn't keep me up at night, but it's still unsettling and very entertaining. There's a anime movie called Kaku Renbo Hide and Seek, and it's about these children in a special part of the city playing this game, and these mechanical monsters are hunting them down. There's nothing scary exactly in the premise, but all the children are wearing these masks that you can't see their faces, so even the kids, the main characters, are coming off as creepy, and then you have these eye-glowing statues chasing them down, hunting them. And it comes off so unsettling that this whole situation even exists, even though the story itself isn't boo, and make you jump out of your seat. And I love it so much.
It's visceral.
I think anime's horror finds a special place in my heart over any other horror and over many different types of animes.
There was one anime on Netflix that I really, really enjoyed, and it was not really the traditional anime that we are used to. Shibai, and it was told in very like paper frames, and the movement was more of paper cutouts kind of doing things. Those stories nearly kept me up at night, but they weren't scary enough that I didn't want to watch the next one, because I was so intrigued by one that I would want to know what the next one was. And they were very short stories. And I think that lends to what you're talking about, Troy, where the creepiness factor doesn't come from I vivisected this guy and his guts are spilling out, or I'm going to jump out of the closet. Like that stuff's so overdone that it's not very entertaining to watch that kind of horror for me. And then Americanized, it's gotten to where you get this gore porn like Saw or Hostel, and that's just unsettling to the stomach. That's not even scary for me. And I watched this one review of, I don't remember exact. It was Alien versus Predator 2. And he made a really, really interesting point. There were all these characters in the movie that were getting killed by the aliens, and when he would see them killed in these very horrific and gross ways, he just didn't care. And he said that was a huge problem, because you've got this desensitization for these characters, and you should never see a scene, fake or not, where someone is mutilated or hurt or killed and feel nothing. And I think American horror is actually had that problem for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of the type of horror that leaves you unsettled and has sort of paper animation, Mononoke is an anime that I was actually thinking about recommending after we watched. What's that one with the
Boy and the
with the
Beast?
weird creatures? No, it's the one Jason.
Mushishi?
Yeah, it was right after Mushishi, and it was too similar to Mushishi, so I didn't want to pick it. But it is. Oh, it's so creepy. I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and if you liked the other one that's paper art, this has a very similar style. Awesome. It's really freaky. You should check it out, Mononoke.
Even Mushishi, while not a horror anime, some of the concepts that they presented, they're so unique, but so creepy at the same time that some of those episodes you walked away a little unsettled. Like, I don't remember the eyeball one.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's turn towards Jeremy's big focus when he brought this up is what is the difference between a suspenseful story and a scary actual horror story, especially in anime to you guys?
Well, for me, it all comes down to the art of the storyteller. It's okay to reveal a bad guy and all his badness at the very beginning, and still make him scary. It's just a lot more difficult. Obviously, the most scary thing is the thing you don't understand or the thing you don't know what it is. And I think Zerum did a really good job with that, where we never really found out what this alien is, where it came from, what is its weaknesses. Death Note was really great about that because, you've, you've got this notebook that, murders people, but like, where did it come from? Why does it have this power? That kind of, shroud of mystery that doesn't take away from the storytelling can make a really good suspenseful horror story.
So what's the horror aspect of that? Because I know that suspense itself, just straight up suspense, can have those qualities. Is it that life? No, because suspense puts life at stake. So is it just some level of gruesomeness or some level of inevitability, something that you simply you can't stand up to, like the Shinigami or like Zerum's massive overpowered capabilities, like the futility of facing this foe? Is that what brings the horror aspect to suspense?
Think about the first couple episodes of Attack on Titan. We got to see these things in their full glory and what they can do and how massive they were. There was always that threat of these things being able to break the wall at any time they wanted. And there were these moments where they would see, they wouldn't even see the things, and they knew that they could eat them at any moment. And they didn't know much about them. They didn't know where they came from, why they were able to regenerate so much, why there were some that were different than others. All they knew is that they were these huge, scary monsters that were eating their families. And I think keeping something shrouded in mystery allows for people's because the scariest thing for somebody is their own imagination. Think about a kid sitting in the dark. There's nothing there, but the things he's cooking up in his head are more scarier than anything that could ever be realized.
So I have a different answer, because it's something I thought of before, and it's the character's reaction to the horror itself. For example, think of the original Mummy movie. So the mummies come out, and he grabs the guy that screams in horror, stands still, and he dies. And we're all like, oh, that's, back then they thought that was really scary. And then they do a remake with Brendan Fraser, and the mummy roars at him, and he roars back, and he shoots it with a shotgun in the face. And then him and his friends run away, and they're handling it. They're dealing with the situation. I think we as an audience become a co-pilot of the main characters, and if the main character is handling the situation, even though it's life-threatening, we're not scared because they're not scared. The movie Scream, I barely consider a horror movie because most of the characters actually fight back against the killer. A lot of them lose, but have you ever watched Scream? The killers take a ton of punishment in those movies. They get doors slammed on them, they get chairs thrown at them. Unlike most horror movies where, oh no, it's a killer with a hook, I have to run away. Why? You're as big as that guy. There's 3 of you. Take them.
Yeah.
But because they run away, we run with them as an audience, and we're scared. The anime Another, they can't fight back against the mysterious force that's murdering them, so they're scared. So I'm scared. Yeah. When I watch an anime where Zerum the animation, Iru is fighting Zerum. She's not scared. I'm not scared. I don't consider Zerum a horror anime because Batman fought him till the end.
Mm-hmm. See, I would have categorized it as a horror because the sense that I got from it, from beginning to end, was that he was just so, like Jason was saying, mysterious and also overpowered. Even though, it seemed like they were able to fight against him, nothing ever really completely seemed to kill him until the end. But like, I can see how both of those things connect to be the same thing, where if it's a mysterious foe that the characters are unsure about or they can't figure out the secrets or the way to defeat this character, and so it seems futile, so they run away, and we get that emotion transferred onto us. I can see that. Yeah, that's interesting.
One counterpoint to that, which I do agree with mostly, that if the characters in the movie or anime are scared, more likely the audience is as well. But like, look at the first and second Alien movie. Those movies are terrifying, even by today's standards. But the main characters were fighting for their lives the entire time.
But in Alien versus Predator, fighting against the same creature, she grabs a spear next to the Predator and fights the alien queen with him. That movie's not scary.
That movie's not scary for quite a few different reasons, and I don't think this is the great point to get into that. But the one thing I will point out, those aliens were not Geiger's creation, by the way.
But Aliens is less scary than Alien.
Yeah.
Because they fought back. They're still scared. They're still running. But you get away from her.
It was still scary.
Because Ripley becomes empowered in that movie against the Alien Queen with a robot, I feel empowered. I'm not as scared of these aliens because, hey, I can take him if I find a robot suit.
Yeah.
Whereas Alien, the first Alien is still terrifying to this day, even though the spaceship's filled with like CRT monitors, because no matter what they do, they're done. They have no agency against the threat, and I think that's the key. If the characters have agency against the threat, they can stand up against it, even if they win or lose. If you have an opportunity to win, it's not terrifying.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, most horror games, what do they have in common? You have no recourse to fight against the monster that's chasing you.
Right. I just beat Resident Evil 6. Super scary. I got a shotgun. Game changed.
6 or 7?
7.
Yeah.
You're right. I just beat 6 isn't scary at all because you have superpowers. But
yeah. 7's terrifying, but
I think it's I definitely think there's exceptions to the rule. I definitely don't think it's a hard rule that this is the only thing that defines horror. But for me, that's how I've always defined horror in my mind, is that, okay, the main character is scared, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
I've
never been much of a connoisseur of horror myself. I've seen a couple little tidbits here and there. I remember years ago I saw a series of short horror films that were from Japan. They were all incorporated into one show. I think there were 2 parts, and it was so freaking creepy. I couldn't watch the second half. I mean, one of them, this lady was eating spring rolls to keep herself young, and you find out that the spring rolls, well, she made the major ingredient in the spring rolls. And I won't give anything else away. If anybody else wants to be freaked out, go ahead. But you're right, Jason. The Japanese they have a mastery over their storytelling, and they can freak you out so well.
Yeah. Also, the stakes need to be high, as in life. And I think that's a big part of horror, whether it be the end of your life or complete and utter change to it, to where in a very drastically negative way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, what are you guys' favorites? Like, as far as favorite anime horror series or shows?
Well, another is definitely near the top.
Yeah.
I did love the Yami Shibai series. That was really neat. Troy, go ahead, because there's one more I'm trying to think of.
Well, another is also my favorite. I think about that anime all the time. The ones I really don't like, but when anime first started coming to America, the first things we were getting were like the tentacle monster pseudo porn horror things. I can't even name the one off the top of my head, and I shouldn't because there might be kids listening. No need to give them Google power.
Right.
There was some nasty stuff and really creepy body transformation stuff. I didn't enjoy those, and I'm glad that anime kind of stepped away, and that also gave anime a really bad name in America. Because that's what people knew it by.
Mm-hmm. Those tentacle cartoons.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I heard that from people whenever you'd say anime. Yeah.
I think Berserk is the other one that I was thinking, and I don't know if it's quite classified as horror, but more adventure, mature.
Yeah, I'd kind of put it with Gaunt's.
There's where they end up in that like hell dimension is that terrified me. Like I that was really scary. Like, not gonna describe it. Never mind.
Speaking of Gaunt's, I just watched the remake of Gaunt's not too long ago on Netflix, the CG version, and the creatures were very creepy. Like, what are they? Where are these coming from? Just emphasizing that idea that their imaginations are crazy. A monster made up of naked women bodies to create a whole nother naked woman body without a head that's just attacking everyone.
Isn't that like the most frightening thing?
So bizarre.
That's it. Rin, R-A-N, Rin. It was a mini-sode movie.
The girl who can't die. And she
yes.
Up. Yeah, that was
rough. So, Jeremy, the premise is there's a woman that is immortal, but she can only come back to life if like she like reassembles, kind of like Terminator 2. And there's a moment where she ends up going through a plane engine over an ocean. And it takes her,
God! Like they use that, and they push the precipice of that.
Yeah, and it takes her quite a while to get back out of the ocean.
Oh my God!
There's a lot of mature,
lots of relationships
and some creepy.
Yeah, that was I love to this day though I love the Santa Claus scene. Santa Claus just opens fire. Like pulls out of his bag this automatic weapon and just starts firing.
Jeremy, do you have a favorite?
Honestly, Ed, I really don't know horror that well, which was one of the reasons why I wanted to chat about it a little bit. Before talking with you guys about, I would have said Gaunt's, Zerum. Really, I don't have very many others that I've seen, but now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I'd put Gaunt's in that kind of a category. Most of the horror that I will have seen has probably not been anime, so I have some things to watch.
Oh, I want to change my answer.
Okay.
Paranoia Agent.
You thought that was horror?
That anime scared my wife so bad, I'm not even allowed to mention it to her anymore.
Wow.
The idea that you can't lock your doors versus an assailant who's going to attack you freaks her out. And that anime was really creepy.
This is the kid with the baseball bat, right?
Little slugger. And how he slowly evolves into just a boy on roller skates that hits people on the head to this monster that goes around murdering people. Not every episode is horror, but there's a lot of horror aspects in it. And like I said, nothing has ever scared my wife that bad.
What's the anime where the girl shows up and she hits this kid on the head with a guitar and she pulls stuff out of his forehead?
Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, that one actually.
Fooly Cooly, we have to eat the food.
That anime freaked me out really bad. Like, I personally would put that in horror because of a few scenes. There's a scene where his dad's like in a cupboard and he's all withered and desiccated. And I'm like, what the hell was going on? Is he alive? Is he dead? There's a few scenes like that that just turned my stomach when I saw him. I don't know if it was the presentation or what, the art style, but there were a few times in that where I was like, this is...
If you guys ever want to read a good horror manga, Uzumaki is terrifying. It's about a town cursed with spirals, and the creative ways they make spirals terrifying. So crazy. Yeah. Okay, real quick before we go. Any horror movies, TVs, or books, or stories you know that you think would be a great anime off the top of your head? Would Alien work as a good anime?
I was just thinking Alien.
That's exactly it.
Okay, let's just lock that in then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do Alien versus Predator as an anime and make it scary and dark.
They could totally do that. Yeah. Well, you know that the girl, I swear it's her. She goes on to become the human predator. Like, gets accepted to a clan, goes out.
Well, Aliens versus Predators, but who cares?
The most crazy story, just unrealistic, insane. Yeah, Danny Glover and Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't do it, but this hot little lady, she can go toe to toe with every predator. Yeah.
Blue Gender's a horror.
Does it qualify as horror? I mean, it definitely was unsettling, but I saw it more as like a military drama.
Yeah. It's creepy. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end it there.
Okay.
I opened up Google. Oh my gosh, they put Vampire Night under horror. No.
Oh, best movie ever. Right?
Okay. If you would like to give your opinions on horror anime, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think makes horror scary compared to just a suspense story. We would love to hear your opinions even more than we'd love to hear our own. So you can reach us on our Twitter at Baka Podcast. Our email is theanimebakaclub@gmail.com, or leave a comment wherever you found this podcast. We are currently watching Drifters, and we will be talking about that next week, and we hope you can all join us. All right, guys, that'll do it for us. Say goodbye.
Thanks again for listening. Goodbye.
Sleep with one eye open.
Sayonara.